I am Sylvia Meehl. I lived in Frankston since I was 1955 when I bought a block of land. I built my house here. Mum and Dad were building a house here as well, and so we used to come down the weekend. Dad would do his house and I'd do my house. Attracted all my electrician, the builder, the carpenter. Ended up working on helping them do different things, like throwing the bricks up to them, moving them all around the house in stacks so they're much easier for them, as it was only a little country road at the time, and they dumped them right on the side of the road. The brickie said I better go and move them, so I got a lend of a big barrow off my brother-in-law and moved them all around the house. Otherwise a car could have hit them. It was a bit bad. Had lighting in those days along the road. So anyway, we got going with the house, and after they'd finished, of course, I had to keep them apart because the bricklayer kept pinching the carpenter's timber for scaffolding, and when he finished, took all the scaffolding down, and he finished and all the inside had to be done. I did all the drainage, dug all the drainage up. I put a great big water pipe through the back of the block, through there, and at the same time the telephone decided they'd put one along the front nature strip. So it was clay, the whole block was just clay. We had our lawns growing, our vegetables growing, our flowers all growing.
When did you meet your husband?
I met my husband, I worked in during the war, I worked up in Spencer Street at a lingerie factory, and we were making the Awa's underwear. And he worked in the SEC behind, and we used to often go for a walk around the back there, and we used to talk to the chap on the back gate, and quite often, and at lunchtime. Oh, I got somebody I need you to meet. So he had brought my husband out, and he said, I'm off and going up and doing something else at the moment. And of course when he come back he says, have you asked her out yet? So in the end he did ask me out, and we used to go out every Friday night to the Australia Hotel and have dinner, and then we'd do a show after that. And he lived at Ivanhoe and I lived at Mentone, and of course sometimes one train went ahead of the other. Sometimes we just missed the train. First time I missed it, I said, look, I'll have to let my mother know. Well, I didn't have the phone on at the time, and the police knew my father. So I rang Chief of Police of Mentone and I said, look, Mum's going to worry. I've missed the last train home. Tell her I'm staying over at Ivanhoe. So he walked all the way down to my mum's and knocked on the door, and he told her I'd missed the last train home. She says, well, where's the other one? My sister was out on the same, out too, my younger sister. So she said, well, I don't know, and the last train hasn't come in yet. So he was back again to the police station. The train had come in, so my sister was walking home, and he asked her, are you June? And she said yes. He said, well, I'm going to make sure you get home all right, he says. So he walked her home. She was really indignant about that. So that's how I met my husband, and of course just before the war ended he decided he would join the Shell Company, oil tankers. So he was sort of delivering oil all around the place during the war. He was in the Merchant Navy, and that's one of his leaves. He came home for a 3 months course for his next certificate, and we got married, and then we went off to Manly, and that's when I fell pregnant with Marilyn.
The most romantic thing he's done for you?
Well, I wasn't with him that long because he died. He died in 1954 or 55 or something. When he came home he got paralysis. He was off the ships by then, We lived at Yallourn. He was the chief engineer at the Yallourn power station. And one of his engineers' little boys got paralysis. And then there was a lady while I had Pam in hospital when she was born. She contracted it and she died. And then there was another one besides that. And then one day he was off for his 4 days leave. He used to work a fortnight and have so many days leave. And he got out of bed and he had to go to the toilet and he says, look, I can't get back. And he had to crawl back to bed. It was a Friday, so I rang the ambulance and I went over to the shop and rang the ambulance. We didn't have the phone on. They took him in and they put him in an iron lung. Mum and Dad and my brother-in-law and all those came up, and his mum and that, and went in to see him in the morning. And he said, I thought I was gone then. And I said, why? What had happened? And he said one of the sisters went out of the room and left the lung going, which you're not allowed to do, apparently. They had to get the men out in the gardens to come in and hand pump that lung for 10 minutes at a time because there was no other lung. They went to Warrigal to pick up another one. So he just got back in the iron lung again. We said, well, in the morning we said to them, you know, look, what about sending him down to Melbourne? And the doctor said, well, we'll send him down if need be. But I said, how do you feed him? She said, oh, his throat muscles are quite good. So he's all right at the moment, but if we have to send him down, we'll let you know. So we had just finished lunch when we got a phone call. They come across and said, you're needed at the hospital. There was 5 doctors and they couldn't get the tube in quick enough. In his throat, they were putting one in his throat. He'd gone. What they had done, they had taken him out to give him a wash and they had the crisis. When the ambulance come to take him, they only sent one old man to put him on a stretcher. And how was one old man going to get him out? In those days, they had wheels on the stretchers. I had to get the old man next door to give a hand. I don't know what happened after that. I found myself home in bed.
What was it like growing up during the war?
It's quite hard. I mean, you had to watch everything, and you had coupons for this and that, and you know, quite a few. I remember my dad had petrol coupons because he at the time was running a taxi, and he had what they call charcoal burner on the back of the car, and you put this charcoal in it, and it went through and drove your car because you only got a certain amount of petrol coupons. It worked quite hard, but we were used to that with 5 of us. Yeah.
What was it like growing up in Menton?
Yes. Oh, we used to make our own fun. On the weekend, we'd walk from Mentone round to Blackrock around the cliff. Have a look at all the wildflowers and everything else around there, and then we'd come back again. When I was old enough to go to work, of course, I used to work at the Woodlands Golf Links in Mordialloc, and I'd have to get the train. I got 50 shillings a week, and out of that 50 shillings I bought a bike, a second-hand bike, for $1 a week. And then I rode to work from Mentone to Mordialloc, out the back of Mordialloc there, near the racecourse. I bought a watch at $1 a week on the lay-by. And my first job there was peeling a trough full of potatoes for lunch. Other fun, but I didn't mind. We didn't mind. But then in the weekends at home, when we all got our bikes, bought bikes, we used to ride up the Peen Highway to Melbourne. And from Melbourne, we'd go round over to St Kilda and come round the beach road home. Oh, we'd ride down during the Americans were here then. We'd ride down to Mount Eliza and Mount Martha and back.
A long journey.
Or we drive to Warrigal and back for the outing and that sort of thing. We used to do a lot of bike riding and make all our own fun. It's great.
What was it like being one of 5 kids?
1 of 5. You got a lot of hand-me-downs. You got a lot of hand-me-downs. I can remember them lighting up the old copper and stoking it up, and then we'd be turning the handle with the ringer, you know, to ring them out and that. We had two big gum trees in our place. It wasn't only an ordinary yard, mind you. Mum and Dad would be out somewhere for the day, and we'd cut the tree down. These great big gum trees would end up laying on the ground when they got home, and we'd saw them up, saw them down. You know, we talk about boys. We were girls doing this, but 2 or 3 times we'd cut them down. You know, they'd get too big, so we'd cut them down. We used to go down the beach a lot. All right, be home by a certain time. Well, we were teenagers by then. And we'd turn around, and I know we used to dive off the pier. We weren't allowed to dive off the pier, of course, and some of them would lose their balls and they'd be going out to sea, so we'd dive off the end and bring their balls back and things like that. An inspector used to come along. We got to know him, got to know who he was. So when we saw him coming, everybody would be diving off the pier. And we'd get under the pier and we'd swim ashore. And then when he walked back down again, we'd be back. We'd come back up the pier again. I remember my brother-in-law, he used to, before he went to war, he used to be able to swim from, when he dived off the pier, he'd swim ashore when he could stand underwater.
Oh gosh.
I could do 11 between 11 of those piles underwater when I was young. I could swim underwater for 11, but he used to do the lot.
Oh my gosh.
God, he was amazing, really. You know, different things like that we used to do, and then Mum would say, be home by 9 o'clock. Yes, Mum and Dad would be in bed. So, of course, what we would do, we were in a 2-storey house and it had a trellis. So we'd climb the trellis and onto the front veranda roof and in through the window.
What high school did you go to?
We didn't go to high school.
Oh.
I didn't go to high school. I did get my merit. But I didn't go to high school.
Oh, so how far was your schooling?
Started Springvale, Hughesdale.
Oh, okay.
When I was young for a couple of years, then we moved to Mentone and that. When I was at Hughesdale, things were very bad then. My mum, Dad was up the country getting jobs and what have you, and there was 3 of us were going to school. Mum couldn't afford a lunch. So those people that could afford a lunch would send a spare lunch to the office. So when the bell rang, if you got to in time to get to the office and got a lunch, you divided it between the 3 of us. And then they used to give us a little bottle of milk. And it was always left in the sun, so it was always warm, you know. But we always drank it anyway because it was milk. As I say, we moved from there down to Mentone. So I was swimming today. Well, right, we'd go home at lunch and we'd go round the neighbours and say, have you got a beer bottle? Any bottles to go to the bottle yard, they'd give us the bottle, and on the way back we'd take them into the bottle yard, which was near the school, and get our pennies, and we'd have our penny to go and pay at the bars for swimming. We had a bit of fun at school. My sister was pretty clever, the first one, the eldest one, and I caught up with my next one up. I caught up with her and we were put in the same grade. They sat us next to each other, very bad, and it was a divided class, and our teacher had to go somewhere and the headmaster took over. He used to dye his hair green, and his name was Mr. Greer actually, and he took over, and so we were about 3 seats from the front. He had a habit of saying, grip your wrist behind your back, you know, this. I I had them on the desk. Sister Hazel goes, I said, what are you doing? She said, grip your wrist behind your back. I said, I won't. He came over and he said, what did you say? I said, I won't to Hazel. Get out of this room, get out of this school and don't come back again.
Oh.
He says.
Mm.
With that, I slid across the seat and I wasn't going to move. He tried to pull me out. So he lifted up the lid. He threw all our books out, our lunch. I still sat there and I said, you can buy us some more lunch for that.